Welcome back to The Change Physician. I am Melissa Cady, the Challenge Doctor, with my co-host, Dr. Kevin Cuccaro, bringing you today Saturday salutations. Of course, we're here to share not only our recent episodes, but just say hello to everyone and to each other as co-hosts from the West Coast to Austin, Texas. You can't say bi-coastal.
Two-thirds of the country.
I guess I'm almost Gulf Coast, but anyway. So we're here to share some of our thoughts or recent events or favorite things. We used to do Friday faves, but we find that Saturday is way more convenient in the afternoon. So you can find us here pretty much, every Saturday, 2 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Pacific time, unless we're taking a little hiatus or vacation or something. But thank you for joining us. Or if this
pushing it to Sundays, because sometimes,
sometimes Sunday salutations. Yeah. It works. So we're here to just say hello. And if you're capturing it on a recording, if you ever have any comments or have things that you'd love to hear in future episodes or, talk about, you can always leave the comments or send an email to Dr. Kevin at thechangephysician.com. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay. Well, how are you?
I am well. It is Saturday. We're salutating. So, what else could be? What could be wrong with the world when you're salutating with your friends?
That is a unique name.
Is that even an actual word?
I'm about to look. I don't know if that is a word.
We can make it one as long as we use it enough.
It can go in the Urban Dictionary.
Well, and eventually it gets adopted into the Real Dictionary. And there's something to be said for creation of words, right? So that's not a real word. Well, if you create it and the word has shared meaning, then it's actually part of language, right?
Yeah. Curse words.
First word, and this always makes me think of we've talked about how emotions are made with Lisa Feldman Barrett's book on kind of construction and emotions and stuff. And she does a lot about concepts. And what I always found really cool is words convey meaning for a specific concept, and the more specific the word, the more you get more emotional granularity, and there's some significant benefits to it, like being able to, instead of just saying, if you only have one word for anger, right? So then if you're annoyed, you're angry. If you're upset, you're angry. And so it becomes this big broad thing. But if you can make up a word like Leifenstoppen, right? And what that means is I'm angry because my wife didn't make enough coffee. It becomes a very specific thing that's annoyance with your spouse when they don't make enough coffee. And what that allows you to do is a very specific granularity to that emotion, which doesn't necessarily bleed over to something else. Because then if you get upset in a different way, you can actually express that through a different word. I'm annoyed because, I'm angry at, I'm upset with, I'm raging because. Anyway, it's fun because she talks about that with there's some Filipino headhunter word that means like the joy you get from killing your enemy or something. And it's like,
wow.
But if you could use these, you can actually then process emotions in ways that are much more constructive rather than destructive. So that's a long way to say salutating. We're going to make that into a word. When salutating is that friendly banter with friends at long distance via Zoom. See, look at that.
Let's put that in the dictionary.
in the salutating. Have you been salutating much lately? You need to do more.
Sounds like salivating. I don't know.
Well, that's a little bit different. Yeah.
Yes, that is different.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to share some things that actually I will segue it from emotions in a way that you may not think I'm going to say, but why don't we let people know what happened this past week, which would be episode 196 on Sunday release. It was a deep dive on Paul Thomas's book, Dressing Well in Medicine, which we had a 2-part episode 194 and 195 that covered our discussion with Paul Thomas about the issues that surround that. But of course, Kevin and I talk about our thoughts on it in our Sunday episode this past week. But also there was an episode on Thursday, The Veil of Ignorance. Did you want to make any comments about any of those?
Dr. Paul Thomas, Plum Health out in Michigan, fantastic guy. I mean, the biggest takeaway, and we said this last week, is just that there's dressing well. The book is about professionalism And there's a lot more in there. Like, again, how can you write 300 plus words in a book when you have a big topic on professionalism and the importance in medicine? So it's actually, I don't know, I'd go there if you're interested in that. It's more than just dressing well, although that's definitely important as well. The Veil of Ignorance was, I actually say that shared a little bit, and our families watch this, right? And so I guess it hit my mother pretty hard in a good way. So I appreciate that, Mom, that you enjoyed it so much and we're talking with your friends with it. But I think it's a very important one. And the Veil of Ignorance is basically talking about this idea about a just society. And you can put that in any way, shape, or form is if you couldn't choose, like if you had to design a situation or experience in such a way that that you had to be a participant in that experience, but you didn't get to decide your role, how would you design that experience? So that could be cultural, that could be the nation, that can be a society, but it can be simple as an interaction. And it kind of can reflect back in a lot of ways of treat others how you want to be treated, no matter who they are. Mm-hmm. Ideas of choice, obviously, ideas of justice. And yeah, so I guess there's a whole lot more we could have discussed there, and maybe we will, because it seemed to resonate with some people. And I do think it's very important, these kind of philosophical concepts that come from these thought games, but they really kind of have an idea of how do you make a better society, and ultimately, like, how do you become a better person, which is sort of what the Changed Physician is about. So big episode. Yeah,
I like that. I didn't expect you to go on that a little bit, and I'm glad you did. And I'm glad your mom enjoyed it. So, well, to jump off of the comments about, emotions earlier, we know that there's a lot of phenomena that happen as
phenomena.
That's what I was just thinking. Speaking of that, that's like, I was just listening to actually Lorimer Moseley, his master.
Are you doing his master sessions?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I thought about it.
I started it, and I just had too much going on. I'm gonna have to go listen to it later. But if no one knows what Lorimer Moseley is, who that is, just look up Australia Lorimer Moseley. But if you're in the pain world,
you should know him.
You should.
If you don't know him in the pain world,
you have not gotten up.
You're not into pain. That's period. You don't know pain. You're not even approaching it. So
yeah. He was talking about. They started playing this, I'm going on a tangent here, but they started playing some music, and there was instrumental. That's it. But your brain starts playing the words in your head, and you're like, you don't really appreciate it until you really start to break it down. And you're unpacking this, like, how is that happening? Like you don't have to hear the words, but you start hearing the voice. And your brain is amazing.
Yeah, no, it's predicting. And he did a super cool exercise in 2016 at EP3 in Seattle, where he had the audience. He was trying to kind of discuss neural networks, and we had tables and around this big audience thing. And he had, okay, every time this happens, you guys, you're going to stand, someone stands up from this table. And then when they stand up, you're going to stand up, and who's going to stand up. And they were doing all this stuff. And so people are standing up, and he starts doing it faster and faster and faster. And at some point, people who were supposed to be standing up or not standing up all the time, but it was just enough that they were standing up quite a bit. They just didn't sit down. And it was like, see, that's what happens. So if you're wondering how you get these triggers that can create an experience of pain in situations which are no longer as relevant as, say, the original scenario, it's because of this firing and how they get used to firing. It was fascinating. So he's just awesome. He's like the best, just the best.
So I have to say, I just had a patient that had to do with general anesthesia for a pre-op, and I'm not going to speak details, but basically some pain issues, underlying anxiety, hypervigilance. I'm feeling off of this person. And I said, I basically shared because I was trying to just give tidbits and just express that I was trying to be caring, not judgy. And, it's a real hard thing when they have a different belief. But at the end, she was like, so do you do any work on the side to help people understand their pain? I've tried this, and this. And I was like, it's like, so I have a colleague, he did this thing called whywehurt.com, and I sent her there. And then I know a couple people that are a little bit more advanced in their physical therapy training and gave her those links. But it is, I forgot what my whole point was, but I just thought there's just so much conceptually in our beliefs that we need help with along the way to help guide us. And it's just really, it's kind of neat to just share that stuff with people, and you just don't know what they're going to do with it. You just kind of like, here you go, start your journey. I wish you the best. And
that's so true. That it sounds well, what do you mean? You can't, like, if you can't, you literally can give them a map, but you have to trust that they're actually going to follow themselves, because you can't, like, and that's like, it's interesting in our community, even with people who have lived experience, we're talking like something like 67 years of being in pain and then transforming their life. Like, it is super cool. And they're like, I've tried to persuade people and they just don't listen. So I've just kind of listened, just kind of wait, kind of throw some seeds out and kind of wait, and then see if they're going to follow the map or not. But that's the most frustrating thing, I think. But I think that is relevant to a lot of medicine. Certainly with pain, certainly with that.
A lot of this is a process. And I was, we could have another conversation about just our lessons from Lorimer Moseley and other people that kind of in that same space. But it was very the initial parts of talking about some of the main concepts was real reassuring to me, because I think, the mind shift that happens for people is believing that some of these concepts are actually important, like the adaptability or bioplasticity of your body. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. Because just like your thoughts and how it impacts your behaviors and how you perceive pain or what it is. I mean, all those things just, they tie in together, and that you talk about these people with 50 years of pain or whatever, and that shift, it can be so powerful. Like, just, it's mind blowing. But anyway, but it does take a lot of patience for your patients if you have any, trying to get through that stuff. But my whole point, was I interrupting you?
No, I was like, my whole point. You got to get to the pictures. I know there's pictures in here at some point.
There is. Okay. So you talked about emotions, and we talked about pain, and this all ties together. It's all about emergent phenomenon, which, if you don't believe pain's emergent, you might need to look that up too. Just like the weather, there are so many variables that create this experience, or your brain is trying to construct an impression, or you're constructing emotions. It's not one single place in the brain. There's multiple contributors. Same thing for the world of nature and outside of the human body. But when you're in a garden or a yard and you're trying to have things happen, I had to just show you the emergence of some things. So that's what I was going to share. So let me pull up my screen here. So I finally have, can you see that?
Oh, it was an arbor thing.
Yes, but
those look like
all those leaves were not there, and they've been there before, and sparse, and probably didn't water enough. And I put some stones down there to kind of hold on to the water a little bit better. And then you got a little bit closer, and actually it looks even better today. I should have gotten a more recent picture, but I'm going to do a new share here with what you can see on the underside and some lovely grapes. I got bundles of these underneath all those leaves. So I can't tell you exactly which grape it is, but each side has a different grape. So they're not seedless, so unfortunately. But here's the other share that I'm very excited about. And these do well in Austin, if you're in Austin, Texas. They're evergreen, and I talked about these before, but do you know which plant this is?
That's your purple.
It's pineapple guava.
I was going to say purple guava thing. Yeah. And you can eat the flowers.
Yes.
I saw your post on Facebook.
Oh, so you cheated. That's okay. No, but I was like, oh, and there's about 8 more already popped up in that same bush. So
What about the
anyway,
pineapple guava? What does that look like? Is it yummy?
don't know yet. They should
Oh,
follow the flowers. It's
yeah.
usually how it turns out. But
Did we
this
talk about fruit before? We did talk about fruit, haven't we?
what do you mean?
In the realm of travel, like
Fruit in the
I'll
realm
hold
of
it off
travel?
and
Okay.
remember it later. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm super like I get more excited about edibles just because I can actually eat them. I've been very disappointed, Kevin, in the 700 tulip bulbs that I planted. And I think about 4 of them emerged with a tulip, and the other is just sitting there with the green leaves. It was kind of like, I'm coming out. No, I'm coming out. And it just kept doing this. Like, I'm psyched out by all this crazy weather, and you're like up to 100 degrees. I don't know what to do with you. So, yeah, so I'm done with tulip bulbs. So if they don't come back, I'm, no love lost here. I have decided. Oh, this is my other share. Let me pull it up. I know this might bore everybody because I'm just talking about garden stuff. I never thought I'd be that person, but oh, yes, I will share this one. It is on the screen. Hold on. Now there is an animal in the background that happens to be my neighbor's. Let's just make that clear. He likes to say hi. That is Tom the cat, who decided to take a nap.
Yeah.
But there's a little shrivelly leaves on the left one. That's Java ginseng. If you ever wonder
what Java ginseng.
Java ginseng. Have a few supports because they tend to splay because they have heavy limbs there. But on the right is echinacea. So for those of you who like the echinacea lozenges and all this stuff for health of immune, if you notice, they're called cone flowers also, but you can see they start off with like a little green yellow. You can see different ages in there. Those are the early onset flowers. And then as they get widen out, you'll see the pale pink and then a little bit of a flat center. And you can see towards the middle, there's like one that looks like a upside down cone kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they end up. You can start seeing a little pollen there.
So that's the cone flower part.
Yep, that's cone flower. So it's echinacea. I don't know too much about them yet, but I will tell you, I planted these last summer, and they were little, and they didn't really have flowers because they were kind of past that point. And this thing survived the winter. I mentioned this before, but I am surprised that nobody talks about these plants, because if you want something evergreen but flowers every year and is a pollinator friendly kind of thing and is deer resistant, or they don't seem to want to go for those. They're kind of rough leaves. They're drought tolerant, frost tolerant, make flowers, and deer resistant. And I have decided to buy a ton of seeds, and I'm going to mass plantings of them.
Mass echinacea.
So anyway, I've fallen in love with such great qualities to that, because we live in crazy weather here in Austin. So that's my share.
At the map though, you guys are like zone 8.
8B.
8B. So we're at 8B too.
Are you really?
Yeah.
You get more rainfall than us.
I know.
But I guess from a temperature standpoint,
yeah.
It's more about the freezing temp, I guess.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently the echinacea, I don't know if it's 2 to 9 or 2 to 10, the zones. They very
big broad one. So it goes all over the place.
So that's the thing I've learned. The ones that have done well with my poorly green thumb is it seems to be the ones that have a wide range of zones. So they I feel like they just, I don't know, they're more resilient. Catnip has done great.
You mean that they're more resilient and adapted to a wide range of zones?
That's what I think. Because of what?
Because it makes a lot of sense. It's like, yeah, this plant can grow all over the place, and somehow they survive in my backyard.
Exactly. That's how I target my plants.
There might be something. I don't know what it is.
It's a jerk. No, so hey, I'm going to go into a different plant because I find it interesting. I didn't know this. Everyone's heard of monarch butterflies, right?
No. Yes.
Okay.
But you don't see a lot of butterflies anymore.
That's really sad.
It is really sad.
Yeah. And well, speaking of our world, we're not doing a great job worrying about our wildlife as much, but milkweed.
Milkweed. They love
yeah,
milkweed. That's what they need to survive on, right? That's the only thing they eat or something.
So apparently that's where the larvae are, so they can feed off of whatever this milkweed, in order for them to actually thrive, their next generation. I don't know what it is about it. I haven't looked into it, but it's an important nectar source for natives. But let's see, larval food source for monarch butterflies and their relatives. So I made a small donation to Arbor Day Foundation. It's local. And they sent me 3 bare roots. So it's easy to like send in the mail. And I was like, these things just look dead. Like, you know, so I just put them in the backyard in a section, and I actually planted it wrong. And I had to go back and dig and push it all the way down. And then I watered it deeply. And then I think I watered it one more time, and I totally forgot about it. I'm like, oh, like a week or 2 later, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go check that spot. And they're already like this tall. So I've got 3 milkweeds that are kind of native and good for butterflies. So, you know, I'm trying to like more encourage the pollinator stuff and like edibles. But yeah, I'm like, you know, you get stuff that's native, and, you know, it's beneficial for a lot of the, you know, pollinators and things that you need to support. But okay, I've talked a lot about my yard, but there you go. Those
are made me think a lot of different things. First is like butterflies. There was a lot more butterflies when I was younger. Like, you know, it's like it slow and goes away.
Look at the pesticide crap we use. I mean, I think there's something to say about that too.
Yeah, but it's really sad. I mean, you just don't see butterflies like we used to see them. They weren't commonplace.
Yeah.
And then the food, that was the other one. I would have sworn because, you know, if you travel a lot, like particularly in the day and age of like Amazon and shipping, you can buy almost anything.
Yeah.
And what I always found was very frustrating, because it's like, well, why would I go someplace and buy it if I can buy it and they can either ship it to me? And a lot of times it's cheaper than wherever I'm going. Buy local. Well, I'm not going to buy local if it's the same stuff and it's cheaper. I'm sorry. Like, there got to be a reason for me to do it other than just to say that.
Yeah.
But what I kind of experienced, that food is a big one. And fruits are fascinating to me because there are so many fruits in this world that you just don't see anywhere else.
Yes.
And so I think that's the fun part. If you get to a place and go eat the unique fruit, like find that unique fruit. Because some of it just doesn't travel. Like I think you have a loquat, right? You have a loquat in your backyard.
Oh, and I got to get a picture of that for you, because the one that I almost killed, it's like thriving.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I love loquats.
Yeah.
But you don't see loquats in the store. And I think it's because the fruit's so tender. Like
I've actually told someone what I had, and they're like, what's that? I'm like,
oh man, they're so good.
I'm like, my friend loves them. I think I might like them. I'm just assuming I'll like them.
Yeah. But anyway, and then when we were in Mexico a long, long time ago, before my wife and I were married, down on the Yucatan, and down at the Zocalo, there was people selling fruit, and they had these like guayadas, or I can't even say it. I've never found them again, but they were super yummy. I may never have them again in my life because I can't find them. But it's super. I just love eating the foods that are specific to a region that you can't get anywhere else. And fruit's a very good one to do. Yeah,
that's a good reminder that if you live in zone 9, 10 or higher, I don't even know how many total zones there are. 8B is kind of tough. I tend to kill off some of these tropical things, but if you're more in tropical kind of weather, really should check out So Exotic, SOWEXOTIC.com. They've got, it's like you're searching for all these fruits you're talking about. They're half the stuff I've never heard of before. And I can't make some of these things survive in my own, environment. I tried, and some of them, like the echinacea, that's just done awesome. But and some of the spinaches and herbs, they do great. But yeah, you really have to you be in that right zone. But
I just went to their website, and it looks like you can actually search the zone. So if you just put zone 8, it popped up.
Did they do that?
6 things in here: figs, which we know we have a fig tree; guava, lemon guava, star anise, red.
No way. Did they just add that? Because I sent an email 2 weeks ago and said, is there any way to get a search engine? Because I didn't have a search engine for, look at me, I'm getting all excited.
Well, let me see if I'm going to put zone 10 and see what happens. Oh, then that changed, but that doesn't make any sense.
Where did
They're
you
saying
put the
blueberries
zone?
in zone 10. That doesn't make sense at all.
Where did you find the zones?
Well, I put it in their search bar, so it may not be. It's not looking like it's correct because I don't think that Zen 10 has blueberries growing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, normally they have it under like the medicinal, culinary herbs, rare fruiting plants, citrus tree. They won't mail out citrus because it has to stay in Florida or something like that. But anyway, for those of you who just want to look at some really unique plants and fruits, and they're like exotic they're to us. So super cool.
I'm just salivating now looking at this stuff.
I know. You could spend quite a few hours just like searching. I think they could improve their search engine based on zone, but they pretty much said it's tropical. I'm like, yeah, but you might want to just put in a section that's for people that are not in that, because there's people buying it outside of Florida.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Very cool.
But yeah, it's a cute little, there's other businesses out there, but they've done a good job shipping plants. So there you go.
Right.
Any final thoughts?
No, other than it's always a pleasure salutating with you on Saturdays.
Yeah.
Salutating. Hope and you want to take it out, or you want me to take it out?
You take it out.
I'm just gonna say, well, thank you all for joining us on Saturday Salutations. I hope you make it a point to salutate with your friends via Zoom, or having these daily interactions in a distant manner with the people that you care about. Salutating. You should use it in a sentence today. And you can join us next week at Saturday Salutations, and we will do some more salutating. And until then, stay well.
Take care.
I like salutating.